So last time we saw Theodor, you were still in the werewolf caves, and you managed to fend off Strahd. Theodor would have been aware of Strahd von Zarovich, and you were amazed that this new party that you've aligned yourself with managed to actually fight him off. You dealt with the werewolves, you dealt with the kids, got them to safety. From there, you moved on to Krezk, where the party seemed to the fractures started, and there was people falling out with each other until eventually Barwolf walked off mysteriously into the mist. Niloren decided he was going to stay behind, or Brungrik told Niloren to stay behind. And Alanonl started down his own dark path, doing his own thing. But the six of you decided to venture on to the Abbey. Now, long story short, the Burgomaster, Dmitry Krezkov, told you that this abbot, this mythical, near mythical human, had appeared 100 years ago. He hasn't aged a day, and he turned up and resurrected his last remaining heir, this 11-year-old boy called Ilya. And in payment, he wanted, bizarrely, a wedding dress. So the Burgomaster has asked you to go and visit with the abbot in the Abbey of St. Markovia, which is on the hill. So the image you should have, this is Krezk, so the wall of Krezk, trees lining everywhere, and then this is the Abbey. When you entered the Abbey with the bells ringing, it was kind of spookily quiet. Bat Damon flew in and spotted two of these weird type mongrel figures. What I'll do, I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. You walked in to the Abbey and found, I'll zoom right in because I've just got these new tokens, I've just bought them and I want to show you. So Otto Bellevue and Siegfried Bellevue. This is female, this is male. Otto was very elaborate and he was sort of quite ostentatiously, he was thinking he was the nuts, combing his hair, thinking he was all that. And they're just an amalgamation of different animals. So Otto's got the ear of a donkey, the snout of a dog, and the hindquarters of a dog, and Siegfried's got lizard features and cat features, and they are just weird creatures. Bat Damon flew into a well and was captured and had his head bit off, and Bat Damon disappeared into the ether. And you were introduced to the abbot when you went up to the front door of the main building here. The abbot was, I've changed the picture ever so slightly just to portray her a little bit better. The abbot, who's here, was walking towards you with this figure here. Is that I know it's a quick recap, but I kind of want to get into it. Have I missed any major points from last session?
Only that I think when, obviously, because I could see what Bat Damon was seeing just before he died, I got the sense of this whatever it was that killed Bat Damon. It has really got me, Mike Reman, really spooked. And he's just ready to. He hates this place. He's even with his necromancy type thing. He's ready to pop.
Yeah, it's spooky. I mean, with the bell tolling, there's screams in the background as well. It's kind of the best way to describe this is if you imagine a madhouse from a filmmaker in the 1950s, 60s. This is the screams in the background. It's an Alfred Hitchcock madhouse that you've walked in. So there's a toll of the bells, there's these creatures walking around, there's screams, there's refuge everywhere. But in contrast to that, when the abbot introduced himself, I mean, this is a tall, 6 foot tall Caucasian male, curly. He looks like some kind of Greek god with gold, blazing eyes. And when he spoke to you, his voice was, there was something magical, musical, and it put you at rest, put you at ease. And then obviously only briefly until you take in your surroundings. But the woman, I'm gonna so here, and I'm gonna give you this for free because the last picture, it was a very attractive looking woman, but she didn't have the auburn hair, so I've changed her to a specific picture. And you've seen this woman before. You've seen a close approximation of what this woman is supposed to be, and it's Irina. It's a spitting image of Irina that you met way back in the village of Barovia. This is a long time ago, Lars, for Theodor. He wouldn't know who Irina is, but way early in the story. In fact, I'll leave it there because you're not sure who she is. But the resemblance is shocking. But if you remember the way I described Vasilka, the abbot introduced himself as the abbot, and this lady is Vasilka. She's very automated in her movements. So we'll pick it up as the abbot turns towards you with this voice, this radiant voice that fills you briefly with joy, as he says, "Welcome to the abbot." And he gestures towards Otto, and he'll say, "See them inside, my good man." And you can tell he's not looking at you directly, and he turns towards Vasilka, and he'll say to Vasilka, "Remember how we greet new guests, my dear." And she wanders over to the doorway, walks towards you, and it's very stiff and jerky, the movements as she moves towards you. And Otto is right next to you all now, and he's sort of trying to gesture you all inside. What do you want to
do?
Is there a check that we can roll on her?
She's getting a little bit closer now. You made the last check that you made that's on my screen is a perception check for her, but she's getting a little bit closer now. So give me. In fact, I'm feeling generous. I'll give you for. No, I will ask. No, perception check. Give me a group perception check, as long as most of you get above, let's say 12. I'll give you an average of 12. Oof. Oh dear.
Oh, two flunked it.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2 left to go. So you need to really score high with these two. No.
Oh.
No. Unless this is a natural 20 coming from Damo.
Oh man, it's 21 though.
No. No. Something inhuman about her. She's wearing a simple red robe, a simple blue robe on the screen, with this auburn hair, but unmistakably Irina. But as she moves jerkily towards you, and she gestures, almost like a mannequin, but tight-lipped, doesn't open her mouth. And the abbot, again, not giving you eye contact as Otto's trying to get you through the door. What do you want to do?
Can I just ask a quick question? Who's this Mishka again?
That was the creature that bit off Bat Damon's head.
That was the one. Cool.
In the courtyard, there's another creature as well. I don't know if you can see Marzina Bellevue. With these weird creatures, you've all noticed a similar theme. They're all family. They would have told you as much.
Yeah, I think when we went through the dialogue, it was like, "Oh, that's my sister, that's my brother." I vaguely remember that they were a family, the Bellevue family.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was specific instructions to stay away from the well.
Valkyn's going to throw a side eye towards Damian.
Yeah.
Look over towards Zilka. Sort of wander over and grab by the hand and sort of like kiss her hand
Okay.
and look back again at Damian.
I mean, looking at her robotic movements and how she's acting, I'll be like, "Well, you can have her."
What I want you to do is I want you to give me a strength check. Just a normal strength check.
Jesus, strength check.
Yeah.
God, this ain't gonna end well, is it?
Ooh, that'll teach you to keep your dick pants, won't it? Always trying to shag everything, isn't it?
Okay. So, is this walk forwards? Are you a little bit cocksure at this point? Is it?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what you
okay.
see, Valkyn steps forwards and he looks at Damian. You guys have seen this before. There's a competition going on, Lars, just to keep you in the picture to see who can pull. And they both fail miserably, if I'm honest with you. So what you see is Valkyn looks over his shoulder to try and wind Damian up, and he grabs Vasilka's hand, and he looks back over, and then he bends towards, and this hand doesn't move. This precious statuesque porcelain doll doesn't budge an inch, and then Valkyn's like, can't shift it. She is ludicrously strong.
Can we not do like an Arcana check or something, Dave? That was more what I was chasing at earlier, because obviously we've begun to recognise something's not right.
Yeah.
So looking into other pools of knowledge to see if we can understand what's going on with her.
Okay. Well,
like, it's a manifestation. Would it be religion? If it's magical, would it be Arcana?
Because your perception would have given it to you. Well, have you? Well, if you're wanting to pry further, it'll just be a check for you, and this is the last one that we'll have then, Sam, and we'll have possibly. Normally, to identify things, it's a nature check, but I will also allow you a nature or kiss. Have you heard anything about it? Making me think history.
Okay.
James
not to do with stone walls. It doesn't matter either way for me. It's a +1 either way. It's an 11.
Okay. You're not sure, mate. You're not sure what's going on.
That was what I was more chasing when I said about the check earlier. Was because we're starting to notice that something's not right.
Well, you already know something's not right, but you don't know that you can't figure out why. And specifically, specifically why.
Can I cast Divine Sense, Dave?
Yeah, that's your Paladin. Yeah. Read it out to me.
So, as an action, you can detect good and evil until the end of your next turn. You can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell, or know the location of any celestial, fiend, undead within 60 foot. That is not behind total cover. Use this feature 4 times per long rest.
I'm going to text you this. Johnson. Okay, you do get a ping, and it's a distinct ping. I'll put in brackets. So what it is what you ping, but in brackets is what Andy Johnson would know it as. But you get nothing from anywhere else other than the usual background Barovian hum.
Thanks for clearing that up, Dave.
Did you get it anyway?
I'm glad you put it in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad you put it in brackets.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So, are you guys moving in? Because Otto's quite, in fact, Valkyn would have had to have stepped in through the threshold. So Valkyn's moved in.
I mean, I think Damian would turn to the abbot and he'd be like, "Who is she? She looks really familiar."
So the abbot, he's sort of doing this thing where he's sort of looking into the middle distance, sort of very, as you guys would know, sort of like a catalogue pose. And as he turns back towards you, and it's almost as if, and as his gaze passes towards Damian, you just feel wonderful, briefly. And he'll say, "This is the bride of Strahd. Come, enter, eat." And he gestures. Everything's quite peaceful, and you sort of see your Tai Chi type ladies in the, and everything's fluid with him and flowing.
I mean, I think Damian would be quite taken back that this is the bride of Strahd, and be like, kind of, and why are you in the possession of Strahd's bride?
He'll
Strahd
say,
Friday.
you notice. In fact, give me no. You notice there's an ever so slight pitch change in his voice, and as he now says, "Come, sit." And he's gone from asking and pleasant to telling. It's not rude, but it's more firm, more direct.
Theodor would just turn to him and ask him, "Is that a request or is that an order?"
I would prefer it to be a request.
And if we refuse your request?
Well, then that would be rude, wouldn't it? And he's now turning, squaring up to you. There's no need to be rude. I am offering my hospitality. Vasilka, come, see the gentleman inside. And Vasilka starts to move away from you, back towards the abbot.
Considering Theodor's been eating like a werewolf for quite some time now, he's going to go and sit down and get ready to eat.
Okay, so there's plenty on the table. Everything that Krezk. Quick overview of Krezk, Lars. It's in terms of the other villages. This is quite insular. There's a wall around, and the villagers don't go out. The only thing that comes in is normally wine deliveries. They have their own livestock. They grow their own vegetables. They grow their own trees for fuel. Their houses. They have pretty much everything in there, including the pigs and the hens and the hares and things like that. It's kind of it's like a step back in time for you. So this is a usual fare. There's let's say a rabbit stew on the go, and he dishes, and there's freshly baked bread. So there's plenty for you to eat and go at. As you pass him, the abbot gently nods towards Theodor and smiles at you. And please eat. Make yourselves at home. The other thing I need to tell you, Jake, you remember what the holy symbol is?
The sun was in here, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It's behind the fireplace up here.
Okay. I mean, I think Damian would be. He's still kind of on edge about the whole situation.
What about if one of us subtly detects magic to see if anything pings?
I mean, to be fair, I can cast detect magic. Would it make more sense thematically as well for me to do it because of my looking for said relic? And maybe for that purpose, I think Damon would still be on edge, but he'd step into the room and he'd be like, I can't say I want to dine and sup with those in league with Strahd. But he'll take a seat while he does detect magic.
Okay, sure. There are no. There are no obvious sources of magic within range of Damian.
Right, okay. So if Damian has moved in, and he's gone and sat down in a chair, but he's going to go and sit, maybe almost like slightly arrogantly, but as kind of far away from the abbot as possible, but on that chair, on that seat at the far back.
Sure. So as the abbot, as you're all coming in, the abbot's nodding to you, and okay, then we'll add that to the narrative a little bit then, Jake. So he nods towards Damian and then points towards a chair, and it's not that same chair. You're heading in a different direction on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you all step forward, there's no change in his countenance to this. It doesn't shrug, doesn't do anything. But as the rest of you walk in, he motions towards a seat, and he'll say to Vasilka, stew, bread for the gentleman, Vasilka, if you wouldn't mind.
Did I get the good juju that I've walked into a holy place?
Yeah. You would know this to have had a long history straight away as soon as you walk through the threshold. A long history of healing, recuperation, things of this nature. Very, it's a holy place.
Yeah.
I tell you what, make a religion check. Let's just see what kind you get. Yeah, sorry, mate, you were going to say.
Am I still cursed?
It's an 11
Yeah,
days.
I didn't know if something had happened last game, but I assume so.
Yeah, no, you've not had a long rest, but it's as far as you're aware, you're still cursed. 11, Sam. The sense that you get seems distant. So the good vibes that you get it seems like stepping into a ruin for you, even though the building's quite well maintained. Are you all moving in? Valkyn's already in, aren't you?
Yeah, Reman's staying by the door.
Okay. So the abbot will look towards Reman, and as he nods, he'll say, "Please be seated."
So I've got my hood up. I'm already on edge. I've got my firebolt on a hold action already. And Reman just puts his hand up and goes. He doesn't even say anything. He goes.
Okay. The abbot turns back towards the rest of the party and he'll say, "Gentlemen, there is no need for the hostility." And he turns back to Reman and he'll say, "Please sit with your companions. This is just a meal and a talk between new acquaintances."
Yeah, Reman's not having any of it.
Okay. Valkyn, did you sit down, you say, Andy?
Yeah, he's tucking straight in.
Right.
He's gonna turn to the abbot and says, "Yeah, you look like a man of action. What do you know of curses?"
1 second then, because Rillik stood in the corner as well. Are you not sitting down?
No, Rillik's still got his hood up. I am eating my dinner as well. That's why I've kind of gone on mute.
Yeah.
He's kind of shaking his head when offered for any food, because obviously he doesn't need it, but he's not letting the abbot know that he's not human. He's just puts his hand out in gesture and shakes his head and says no thank you.
Is there anything we can cast on the food to make sure it's not poisoned?
Yeah. I don't think I've got it, but there is for future reference.
Could I do a deception check and pretend to eat it, and then keep an eye on the abbot and just check what his facial expression is doing whilst I'm pretending to eat his broth or whatever it was he gave us?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, it'll probably be go on then. Roll a deception just to see if you get away with pretending to eat. 13. Okay.
13.
So as far as you're aware, you sort of the abbot, as he's looking around the room, you make sure he's looking at you as you get your stew. And then when he turns away, you do your shady thing. As the abbot looks back towards you, give me an insight check then, Lars, just to see if you can pick up anything from
2 13s.
2 13s. He just as you're sort of I'm guessing with a 13 deception, thumbs would be involved at some point. He says he sort of nods towards you appreciatively, and he'll say to Vasilka, "More for the gentleman." And she comes around and tips you some more, but you don't pick up anything. There doesn't seem to be any malice behind his actions. But he does turn.
Does get that vibe.
Say again, sorry.
There's somewhat creepy about him. I'm getting that vibe.
He does turn to the four of you. 1, 2, 3, 4 of you that are seated, and he'll say, "Can I encourage you to? Can I get you to encourage your friends to join us? It would be a shame for them to continue in this rude fashion. All I am is here to see that you're well and ask your purpose."
They speak for themselves.
He turns back towards Rillik and Reman and says, "Gentlemen, I really must insist. This is the last time I'm going to ask. This is my home. You are guests in my home. I'm asking you to do me the honour to sit and share a meal."
Theodor just turned to the other guys and go, "Don't be rude, chaps. It's quite nice."
No,
Yeah, Valkyn's going to turn around and say, like, "All right, guys. It's good food. Eat." So he's like shoveling it down under his nose.
Reman's having none of it. What he saw in that well and what he's seen so far, it's got him so spooked. He's having none of it.
Okay.
I feel like I'm speaking on Lewis's behalf here, but I'd imagine Rillik would be cautious when it comes to eating food offered by a stranger in Barovia after the pints. I imagine he'd be a bit standoffish.
Or even in the death house.
Like to, but he can't.
Oh, okay.
So as much as he's quite happy to go, yeah, I'll come. He's basically just shaking his head with his head down slightly, looking at Valkyn and saying, "You know full well that I'm a puppet. Why be a cunt?"
So what's going to happen now then? Is the abbot, as he's stood in front of you all, he turns towards Reman and Valkyn, and as he spins towards you, he'll say, "Gentlemen, you have nothing to fear here. I do insist." And as he says the word insist, he holds his hands up briefly and throws his hands down. As he throws his hands down, he totally changes. I'll give you this as a token. His robes fall away, and as he stands with his arms out, wings sprout from his back, and you can see this glistening silver skin. This is the very definition of pure light and beauty in front of you. This is an angel. Has just identified himself, and he's now turning towards you as he says, with his chest out, and as he looks sort of down at you, and he says, "Gentlemen, you have nothing to fear. Sit down." And he looks between Reman and Rillik. What do you want to do?
Yeah, Reman's still not having none of it.
Okay, let's roll initiative.
What?
Oh, man.
You're going to kill us?
Oh man, that's trash. From Damo there.
Five. Who are we missing? You remember how to do it, Lars? where's Valkyn going to be sat, Andy?
Cool.
He's been quite foolhardy in this and sat quite reasonably close, I would say. Unfortunately,
Sticking where you want him, then, mate. So what you'd all see with these angel wings is 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. The angel, as most of as he's expressed to you, the rudeness that he's perceiving is coming from Reman as his chest bursts forward. One flap of wings, this massive mace materializes in his hand as he flies. He seems to be flying towards Reman. Brungrik, as you're halfway through eating your stew, as you look over, you notice this happening first. What does Brungrik want to do?
Well, as he's sorry, David, just butting in, as he's sort of making a lunge towards me with this mace that's appeared, I'm going to release my fireball at his Fizzog.
Okay. Yes, you did. You did say you were holding a firebolt, so you can have a preemptive firebolt if you want to roll to hit.
Yeah. Right. What do I roll? Where was it? Firebolt. 13.
13. What I'm going to say to you is the firebolt hits on his chest, this sort of silvery sheen of a chest, and it just glances off as he comes towards you, and it's quite an imposing figure of this angelic creature coming straight at you. So now we'll go to the top of initiative order with Brungrik.
Brungrik will jump out of his chair and shout to the abbot, please hold your blade. Reman, sit down. These hostilities can be avoided. Do it now. Don't be foolish. And though he's jumped to his feet, he's not actually going to move to intercede.
Okay.
So he's pleading with the abbot to not attack him and basically telling Reman he needs to get over it and he needs to sit down and stop being rude.
Okay. Any response from Reman?
Sorry, just Reman's still not having any of it, and he goes outside
to
just out into the.
You're in initiative, dude. You
Yeah,
can't do anything. You can't move. You can only speak because it's free action.
Right. Okay then.
Let me just cast a fireball and just bail.
Oliver jumped up, nerf herder.
No, Reman's he's sticking to his guns.
Sticking to his guns. Okay, let's have a persuasion check with disadvantage then, Sam.
Reman, he was pissed.
This
He is
not going to go well.
Sam, you're good at rolling outside of combat, remember?
15's an interesting number, Sam. Okay. Okay, how to play this then? So 15's reasonable. As the abbot looks like he's about to fly forwards to attack Reman, he will, in response to Reman's, I'm not having it type thing, he will say, do you not see my celestial presence? I'm a creature millennia old, I am asking you to sit and break bread. It is a simple request, or I will destroy you.
Reman's
I want to
reply
make
to
it
that.
abundantly clear. Brungrik is standing there, but he's not. He's making it obvious he is not looking to intercede.
Okay.
He's trying to stop the argument, so he's not jumped up with his axe or anything. He's just jumped out of the chair and he's gone. Enough. That type of situation. He's not making it look like he's going to step in or anything.
Yeah.
Physically.
Okay. Looking at you, Millet.
I'm obviously getting daggers off everybody else. So I'm going to walk straight up to the abbot, square him in the face, and sit down right next to him.
Okay. So that we'll take that as read, but we still need to resolve Rillik. So as Reman looks like you're about to acquiesce as far as Reman would do, the abbot turns towards Rillik and gestures to the seat next to him. What does Rillik do?
He'll basically remove his hood and say this is a pointless gesture, and he'll walk towards the table.
Okay. So if you want to sit yourselves down wherever you were going, we'll say the abbot's going to take this seat here. That is closest to it. As the situation, the tension in the room leaves, the abbot gestures to himself again, and this very humbly dressed, beautiful, angelic-looking man. Everything now makes sense to you. How he can be look 100 years old. This is a creature. This is a sliver of pure divinity that's probably older than time. It's older than you've heard stories about these creatures before. He's ancient beyond reckoning and a sliver of divinity from a solid source. As he sort of gestures to you all, well, thank you, gentlemen. It is a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance. Vasilka, wine and stew for all of the gentlemen, with the exception of our constructed friend in the corner. Tell me, can I get you anything else? And he's addressing Rillik.
No, I'm good.
He'll kind of just look down and say no, thank you.
So the abbot, after you've had if you're eating or not, it makes no difference to him now. You've sat, you're sort of doing as he. Jake says no, never eat it in Barovia ever again. He'll say, so tell me, my fine young friends, what brings you to the Abbey?
You know what vibe I'm getting from this guy? Has anyone seen Constantine?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Archangel Gabriel and Constantine. Getting that exact vibe.
Yeah. That
Good guy got bad.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
But superiority complex, thinks he's above everything.
I think Damian would counter what he says with we've been told you seek a wedding dress from the Burgomaster.
Yes, indeed.
We
Sorry, Jake.
wonder the purpose. No, it's okay. And are wondering why you seek this dress.
Is it not obvious? This is the dress for the bride of Strahd, so I can present Strahd with his new bride.
And why are you in league with the devil himself?
No,
considering you see.
No, not in league with the devil, placating the devil. He cannot be defeated, you know.
Have you tried? Brungrik will say with a mouthful of stew.
Nice. Say, I have history with Strahd. He He confuses me. I know what he's after, I believe. No, actually, he doesn't say believe. He says, I know what he's after. He is after his bride. And this is his bride. I have made her for him.
So it will be to bring up without stop eating, and he'll look at him because obviously he's a cleric. He genuinely believes in the gods. He follows the gods and has done most of his adult life. And he'll be like, "What do you mean he confuses you?"
He is a creature of extreme power and malice. He has been vanquished in this land countless times, but he always returns. He is unstoppable, and therefore the only way to defeat him, to cure him of his curse, is to give him what he desires most.
And how come you haven't tried this before?
This is as close as I've come to perfection. Do you not agree that Vasilka is perfection?
And I think at that point, Damian would say, and I still don't think she'll be good enough.
Okay, let's have an insight check from Damian.
It's only a 10.
Okay, so as you say this, the abbot turns towards Damian and he'll say, and how do you propose to end the curse of Strahd?
And Brungrik will just lift his axe up, place it on the table next to him, and go back to his stew. But he's looking at him as he does it, so he's looking at him, lifts his axe up, makes sure he sees him, put it on the table, and then
so as if that's your answer.
That's Brungrik's answer.
Without like metagaming too much, with Damian's background having been like from a descendant that had previously been in Barovia, how much would Damian actually know about Strahd's origin and how his full creation?
You've heard rumours only. Right, bear with me.
This seems to be playing into my theory, not Brungrik's theory, but my theory of why it's called Curse of Strahd.
So yeah, you've heard rumours. You know who Strahd is. You know that he, amongst other titles, the father of all vampires, the creator of all vampires. You know that the first rumours of the mists, any mists to do with demi-planes of dread, all swing back to Strahd being the first lord of any dark domain. You've heard of Vistani going in and out. You've heard that he is able to grant passage through the mists to certain people, but you don't know anything else. And due to the circumstances, I'm not even going to give you a roll for this, Jake. That's just what you know.
No, and we because we knew about Irina, but was there at some point we heard about somebody mentioned something about Tatiana?
Yeah, you've heard the name Tatiana from Strahd himself.
Yeah.
But in okay, Jake. Yeah, happy.
I think so. Yeah, because I'm sure he referenced Irina as Tatiana, didn't he?
He did.
I was just about to say, isn't Tatiana his former love, and whatever her name is, has a resemblance to her or something?
Well, I'm pretty sure from what we gather, she's like the spitting image.
Yeah,
spitting image.
So I think on that, and having remembered what, I mean, if you want me to do a check there, I'm more than happy. But from the encounters with Strahd and his reference to Irina being Tatiana, I think Damian would turn to the abbot and say, "For she is not Tatiana."
Gotcha. Okay. So let's play this out differently, because we've got sort of two dialogues going at the same spot. So what we'll do is we'll do Brungrik's just before this chat with Damian, and in response to your answer to his question, how would you cure Strahd of his curse? You put the axe down, and the abbot will say to you, "That is not a cure. That has been done before, and he always returns with the same curse." And then in response to Damian, he will say, "But this is Tatiana, or at least she will be when she has her dress."
Sorry, go on, Jake. Because I'm going to change the conversation. So if you want to carry on, mate.
I think even when she's wearing a dress, she'll still not be. She will not be the real deal. She won't be Dickinson.
Okay, so you very much get this sort of angelic cold shoulder from him at this. He will change the subject, or will let Brungrik intercede at this point. He's finished his conversation with Damian. As far as he's concerned, he believes that once he's got the wedding dress for Basilka and presented her to Strahd as Tatiana, that's the end of it. That's the curse cured. This is his answer to everyone's problems in Barovia. As he swings back towards Brungrik.
And Brungrik probably stops eating again, and he doesn't look at him. He says, "The boy. You haven't properly healed the boy." Can't remember his name.
Yeah, you mean Ilya,
the master's son? Yeah.
Yeah. He okay. He will turn back to you and say, "This is Barovia. Once the curse is lifted, then everything will be back to normal."
And how do you foresee the curse being broken?
With Strahd's beloved return to him.
And what if that fails?
Okay. Let's have an insight check from Brungrik. +8, Sam. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
18. So similarly, you pick up. 18's a really good roll. You pick up something that Damian missed when Damian was talking to him, and his eyes, these golden orbs of just pure calm and brilliance, flash ever so briefly, and you noticed it when Damian said something provocative, and you now notice it again. And that there's an annoyance, but there's also ever so brief, and it looks bizarre on his angelic features, like a sneer, as if to suggest, "Don't you know who I am? Of course it's the right thing to do."
So we are getting that sort of hint of arrogance about it.
Definitely. Yeah. With an 18, definitely. As he turns back to you and says, "This is the answer, my son." And he will move on from this as he's sort of... and it's almost as if Brungrik gets the impression that it's the first time that he's actually properly taken notice of him, as if you're underneath him with the arrogance. And he'll say, "The Morning Lord has decided, my son."
Definitely getting that Gabriel vibe.
Yeah. And so Brungrik will then come. It's in a tone that's sort of, "I'm not done yet, and don't talk down to me like that." And the tone of his voice, and it's, "But you haven't healed the child properly? If you fail, how are you going to fix your mistake? Oh, I scared Jake off then.
So intimidating.
So, okay.
Look, he knows it's beyond his own power, and he can't fix it, and
Yeah,
it irritates.
yeah.
And it's a child.
So you've spotted his tell now. I'm not going to ask for another roll. You see this flare, very brief flare, as he turns back to you, and he'll say, "Yours is not to question, my son. My will be done here. The land of Barovia is difficult." Okay, I'm going to make a roll a d20 for me, Sam.
Yeah.
Please.
It's an 11.
That's an 11. So the abbot will say, "My connection with the Morning Lord is difficult and has been for a while, but I know the will of the Morning Lord. I am the essence of the Morning Lord in Barovia, but even I cannot penetrate the mists. I too am trapped here, and it is my position to do what I can for the people. This is the best that I can do for the people. You must see this, my son."
And yet I, a lowly cleric of Pelor, am willing to try where you do not.
Your answer is a bandage, a fix, a short fix. I am trying to cure Barovia. This is the bigger picture, my son. And you can tell he's starting to get a little bit wound up by you.
Yeah, I feel like I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to sort of poke at that nerve because he wants to get him to finish the job, as it were.
Right, just rewind for me. When you say he, is that Brungrik wants to poke the nerve?
Yeah, he's trying to get him because obviously to do the, I think, did you say it was a restoration spell that would
Raise dead.
heal? Say again.
Raise dead.
No, because he's brought him back anti.
Ah, gotcha.
And he said it needed I think it was a restoration spell, wasn't it?
So to cure
To heal him.
the greater restoration spell to properly bring him back.
Yeah.
So he's not,
Which is beyond his power. So what he's trying to do is sort of keep poking that nerve to say, you need to finish the job you started. You haven't done it good enough. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's chasing. He wants him to.
Okay.
So maybe he'd follow up with, no, but we, and he'll sort of be like, us as people of faith, help those in need. You brought him back from the dead to restore the line, but the boy is not well. To cure him is beyond my current power, but I know you have that power.
Just give me a religion check just before we go down this
Okay.
down this track.
19.
Yeah, he doesn't specifically have this power. You've heard of I know it's a shame, Sam, because I like where you're going with it. But you would have heard of 19 is really good. This is a diva. The specific type of celestial this lad is. He's one of the choir of angels. He is a powerful celestial being, but he's one of the lesser celestial beings. He can raise the dead, he can cure the wounded, and he fights with radiant zeal. But he doesn't have the power for restorative magic, or that you would need.
Okay. I'll let it go then. I won't persist. Yeah, obviously that was my, because he's managed to bring him back, he'd be able to.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you a little bit more from the abbot. He will say to you, it is beyond my power to restore what is needed, other than to rid the land of the curse. Once the land is cured, the mists will go, and it's the mist that keeps people in and creates the madness of the land.
Okay.
So Vasilka's again, and she's sort of walking around. Now I was pushing you towards this as well, but I'm gonna add this for free as she's dishing out the meat, and it's something that triggers a specific thought too. I'm just gonna roll a d6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's Theodor that puts 2 and 2 together. Theodor notices Vasilka's walking around, and she leans in front of you to ladle some more stew into your bowl. Just on her arm, underneath her robes, you see stitch marks all the way around. And as you notice it, you try. Well, in fact, what would you do once you notice the stitch marks?
Who's closest to me? Valkyn. He'd maybe nudge Valkyn and be like, look at the arm, and give him the eyes. To be like, look at the stitches on that wrist.
I'm sure Valkyn would be like, I wonder if he can do that to my ears.
Fucking hell, Joe, that's harsh, isn't it, mate? Dark places you do, pal.
It does.
Valkyn's going to lean across to...
frozen with his face just smiling at you.
That's
Yeah. He's back. I've gone. He's going to lean across to the abbot and he's very much concerned about himself and his curse at the minute. He sees the abbot as a celestial being, one of curative powers that can get rid of this curse. So he's very sleep deprived. So he's very hell bent on, look, can we sort this out? Off chit chat. He's kind of going to ask the question initially, saying, look, you've been able to create a bride for Strahd. Are you not able to acquire a simple wedding dress? What do you need us for? He's gonna have a follow-up question, but yeah.
Okay, so what? So you? Sorry, Andy. I was just checking something. I should have been listening to. So you're asking, what does he need you for?
Yeah, if he can create a bride, what does he need us to acquire a simple wedding dress?
He'll say, well, the task was given to the Burgomaster. If the Burgomaster has passed that task on to you, then it is yours to do.
Who's the Burgomaster again?
You haven't met him. You You have met him, but you missed meeting him, as it were.
The Burgomaster Krezk, he's seemed to be a decent fellow. He looks after his people. He does for his people. Everything you were reading about this chap is he's making the best of a bad situation. He's sealed the whole village. He doesn't let people in, doesn't let people out. But his whole line had died out through disease or bad luck, except for his young son Ilya, that was raised by the abbot. And the abbot visited the Burgomaster and said to him, as payment, I would like a wedding dress delivered to me in 3 days. And then the abbot went back up. This is the first time anyone's seen the abbot for 100 years. All very spooky, all very like, what the fuck's going on type thing. All right.
Sorry, yeah.
I know that's the problem with
Jumping in, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Theodor would just back up what Valkyn's saying. Like, why are we here?
Okay.
If he's already been down to ask him for this wedding dress, why does he need us to go and like just walk? Why are we his legs?
Well, you as a party decided to come here. It was Krezk, the Burgomaster, that asked you to visit to see if you could do anything. But the abbot will say to you, my request is simple: a wedding dress in 3 days, so I can present Strahd with his bride.
To Brungrik at this will say, we're aware of the deal, but Krezk does not have the expertise, the materials to create a wedding dress, especially one that you would require as a part of your plan with Strahd.
He sort of nods and he says, This is disappointing.
And of course, the concern is then raised that the child will come to harm if the town doesn't meet your request. I nearly said demand then, request.
Okay, nice. So the abbot, as he is sat with you, he sort of rocks back in his chair, just like the DM does as he's thinking about how to respond to that. Did you wanted to add something else as well, Mr. Johnson? You hadn't finished your questioning about the curse either, had you?
I was just going to probe him about, obviously. I'm going to stroke his ego a little bit and say, look, you're obviously a man of great power, great benevolence. I'm one step away from giving them a hand job underneath the table type thing. Seems you need as many people or as many minds on this case as humanly possible. I dwindle from this curse. Is there anything you can do for me? I can acquire the materials that you need.
Let's have a persuasion check from you then,
Andy. Absolutely.
1.
Oh, piss off.
He'll say, I do have some ability to assist. It doesn't cover what needs to be done for Ilya, but I could help when I have my wedding dress.
Fine.
If one of us, if you could get us to Vallaki or assist us to get to Vallaki, I think it's Vallaki, quickly, then we could then look to solve the problem.
Okay.
Basically, you've got fucking wings. Fly me down to Vallaki and I'll get you a wedding dress. Because we've got no other way of doing it.
Okay. That's interesting. So he okay. No, he started. You get the impression he sort of twigs what you're trying to say. He'll sort of turn to you and say, "Unfortunately, my duties here keep me rather busy. I'm."
That or give us a bigger deadline.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, so maybe the conversation sort of goes. Potentially, we could get the wedding dress from Vallaki. The issue is we can't achieve that in 3 days.
Okay.
Because I think we did the math last time, and you said we'd be killing the horse to get there, killing the horse to get back.
Yeah.
If we had the horse to get there in the first place, sort of job.
Okay.
So sort of maybe explain it more. Actually, look, it's the 3 day deadline. If we give us more time, we could potentially get to Vallaki, source the dress, and return it to Krezk.
Reman's ears have pricked up in this conversation, and he's turned. He's wondered. Well, if he can't go for 3 days, and that this he's created this bride, but he can't. His duties keep him there. Reman's wondering if he has to cast some sort of reincarnation spell, similar to what I do for my undead.
Okay, right. Let's have an Arcana check from you. And then I'll get back to you in a second, Sam.
Corner.
You okay, Lou?
Oh.
Yeah, he's fine. Don't worry about him.
Okay.
He's messaged me.
Surviving.
All right. If you need to go, mate, we can always catch up.
No, I'm fine. Carry on.
It's somewhere between coughing up a lung
Bless
and
you.
vomiting mucus. He doesn't want us to listen to it.
Yeah. Oh, mate, that's dedication to D&D. That is, you get instant inspiration for that, Lewis. Stick it on your sheet. Reman 16.
You're the inspiration.
Jake, you lose inspiration forever.
Oh, brilliant.
16 is really reasonably good. This, so you've seen. Reman has seen Theodor sort of point towards the stitching, the questioning backwards and forth as Vasilka in this automated fashion keeps walking around the table. I'm going to text you, Miller.
Okay.
So you've figured out what she is.
She a Frankenstein.
And in brackets is the sort of layman's terms. So back to you then, Sam. The abbot, he as the conversation goes backwards and forwards, Valkyn's already tried to rub him up, and he was appreciative of it. He took the compliments well, even though you weren't exactly successful. And he'll turn to Brungrik and he'll say, 5 days, my son.
Would that, so this is me, Sam, asking you, Dave, would that to us appear a more feasible achievement?
Yeah. What he's doing, basically. Sorry, dude, go on.
We could hoof it by foot there, get the dress made, and hoof it by foot back.
Yeah. What he's essentially doing, he's giving you the same deal that he gave to Krezk. He gave Krezk this deal 2 days ago. You're 2 days into it, so he's resetting the
time.
Yeah. But you can, in fact, you could get there by foot in 2 days. So if you've got a faster way to travel, you could get there quicker. So 2 days by foot to get there, 1 day to try and do it, and then 2 days back would be manageable.
Okay.
And is that one long rest between each day, mate? Is that how much time do I actually have left before I start dropping?
Because you've not told us you're cursed yet, have you?
I think you kind of figured it out.
I know about it.
Yeah, Damian knows about it. I'm guessing now you would have heard me talking to it. The table, but yeah, I wasn't quiet about it.
I'm just trying to think if we rolled on it and if remove curse would do the trick. Because my gut is saying to me that you didn't say anything, so I didn't offer it up before.
Right.
Or if I did, Dave said we either didn't know enough or it didn't work.
Then we had a discussion about it, didn't we?
We know it's not lycanthropy, don't we? So it's not us.
Yeah.
But remove curse, it just removes curses. All curses affecting one creature or object end. I've got a feeling you didn't say anything.
You had the conversation. I remember you having the conversation. But what we'll do is we'll stick it in that this is the first time. He sort of Valkyn said it. You know him to be private, but you know him to have sort of a special relationship, a bond with Damian. The two of those have been through shit together, and you've been through shit yourself, so you know what it's like. It's a bond and a brotherhood that you're part of, but their particular bond, you same as you've developed with everyone else. But Valkyn has never directly said to you that this is a curse affecting him, but he's openly said it in front of you all and the abbot. So it's the first time he's said it. You haven't attempted the remove curse. But what we'll do in terms of what's going to happen for now, you've supped up your stew. Vasilka's topped up all of your wine as she clears everything away. As the abbot turns to you and he'll say, so gentlemen, our time is coming to an end, but I wouldn't be the host. I wouldn't be a good host unless I gave you a tour. Do you care to view the monastery before you leave?
Brungrik would naturally say yes.
Theodor's just finished his stew and he's like, okay.
So he stands and says, Vasilka, that will be all, my dear. And he gestures towards the stairs. The stairs going up. What I'll do then is, just for now, I'm just going to take one of your tokens. Who's first on the list? B for Brungrik. So I'm going to change your map. As he leads you upstairs, just make sure. And he's basically. I'm not going to read them all out to you. I'm going to skip over them a little bit. Throughout all of this, I've read it out in the description last time. I did forget about it. There was sort of. It sounded like strangled music coming from upstairs throughout, which added to the weirdness of it. And as you come upstairs, are you all going for the tour, by the way?
Yeah. Go on then.
If everyone is going on the tour, are they looking at doing a what's the name? Are they looking at is he leaving his like relatives in with us in the dining room if we weren't to go?
In terms of the Bellevues, the two that ushered you in, they disappeared. You assume that they went back to their guard post. Vasilka goes downstairs. There's no one else in the main hall as the abbot gestures towards the stairs up, and whoever's going with them, he'll let them. He'll walk up first, and then you all file behind him.
I think I would probably stay in the main hall because I want to investigate the son that I've seen.
Gotcha. Okay.
Reman is going to follow and closely behind Brungrik. He knows he's got a bit of making up to do because he's clearly ruffled Brungrik's feathers. But he's going to bend over and whisper into his ear as we're walking around and tell him what I've discovered. As he's a man of the cloth, and explain that's why Angel Dude can't go off.
Okay. So he takes you upstairs to the loft and the belfry. So this room is directly above. Can you all see that, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In here, there's wooden stairs leading up. The room is filled with the sound of beautiful music, and what you can see is one of these mongrel men. These mongrel figures playing a violin. And next to him is a couple of bottles of wine, most of them empty. There's a cot in the corner. There's an oil lamp there. and as the abbot ascends behind you, he'll say, "This is Colvin. Colvin is quite the artist when he's had a few to drink. Keeps us entertained. And the long nights." But there's really nothing else of interest here. He takes the tour further along. I'll just open the door for you to the south.
Hey, what's that?
That's a black shroud covering a humanoid shape, which is lying on a wooden table. He doesn't ignore it necessarily, but he doesn't make reference to it as he walks past it.
Okay. Brungrik will say, "What's under the cloth?"
What's in the box?
The abbot will say, "That was a work in progress." And he gestures towards the door in the south as he starts to move out himself.
So as we're walking, Brungrik will ask, "Why have you done what you've done with the Bellevue family? Why them specifically?"
He'll say that the Bellevues came to me, the whole family, with deformities. They were an insular group, and you can tell he's hinting at the fact that they are inbred motherfuckers anyway. They had proper banjo players. They had problems that they wished I help with, and I helped them.
I don't feel like he's done a good job of making them look any better, has he?
No, especially not with the creepy spider one.
Yeah. What's on Cloven's arm? Has he got a little? Is it a crab claw?
It is, yeah. And also, I don't know if you can notice, he's got a baby's head stuck next to his as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gross.
Don't forget his banjo.
And with his banjo, we will change it to a banjo. Yeah. And the foot of a bear. His right foot is a bear. He's got horns of a goat on as well. But he sort of nods and hiccups at you, and he'll say, "I'm going to roll d6." And he'll say to Brungrik, "You sure do have a pretty mouth."
Hidden that big massive beard.
So he basically the abbot's going to continue the tour. I don't want to dwell on it too much. I know because Lewis is knackered and Lars keeps yawning. I know you. It's full of flu and a new baby. It'll do it for you. So I'll try and skip it a little bit. I'm going to open up all of the rooms. Are you basically just following him around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the conversation with about the Belgian and stuff would be as we're walking around, you know what I mean? Chit chat, but he's trying to gain information.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So with the Bellevues, then, as you go past Colvin, he'll sort of say, as he says, I made improvements, and Colvin's will say, "You sure did. Well, it fixed it all up real good."
There's a bit of me that wants to believe that this dude is a good guy, but then there's just so much me going, fucking run for the hills.
They have eyes.
Does anybody else hear banjos?
Everybody. So as he continues, he will say, as he's walking along this overlooks the courtyard. So if you remember on the approach, you'd got these they look like guards, but they're basically stuffed mannequins. And he will say, he takes on a somber tone, and his countenance changes ever so slightly as he says to you, "Unfortunately, when curing the Bellevue, there were problems." And just to emphasize this, that you can hear the screams and the wails coming from directly downstairs from where you are. And as he enters this room here, I'll read you the brief description of this room. So this is as wooden counter shaped in an L stand. At the front of this spacious, it's an office. All the other furniture has rotted away, leaving heaps of mouldy wood and faded cloth. And as he gestures on, he points towards what looks like hospital beds, all of them empty. It's a spacious chamber with loads of beds. He'll say, this is where the hospital wing used to be. But unfortunately, and he gestures you as if he's pointing you downstairs, and he wants you to go down these stairs as he's stood at the top. And he'll say, unfortunately, some of my ministrations proved too much for the Belleviews. Please allow me to show you what I am up against.
And at any point, have we seen any more sun symbols?
No.
Okay.
Just the one, and I'm aware that Damian's. Once, I'll tell you what, Damian, Jake, I'll do yours now then. So as everyone disappears upstairs, you've got a golden sun disc hanging above the fireplace. The room is empty. What do you want to do?
To be fair, I'm going to be kind of like patting around it, kind of like trying to get a feel to see.
Yeah.
No, it says it's behind the sun.
So the disc itself, as you sort of prod it and poke it, it moves ever so slightly, and you realise that it's on a hook. It's like a picture frame being held.
Yeah.
And it's easy for you to remove. As you remove it, you can see behind there's sort of a circle of dust. This hasn't been moved for a long, long time. And behind it, you can see there's a niche behind it, and it contains there's a crystal and electrum flask that's worth a fair amount of gold. You would guess 250 gold's worth, and it contains a liquid as well. There's 4 gold.
Shall I add that to my inventory now, Dave?
I'll
just do it preemptively.
There's 4 gold candelabras that look like they've just been stashed, as if like they've been hidden away to try and keep people from getting at them, and they're worth 250 gold each. So there's 4 of those.
So just let me write it down. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, sorry.
So there's 4 gold candelabras.
Yep.
250 gold each.
Okay, there's the electrum flask.
It's crystal and electrum flask worth the flask itself is worth 250 gold, and there is a liquid inside it.
And the liquid that I can see inside it, does it have any kind of particular characteristics to it?
It looks quite thick. It's difficult to tell the colour because it's behind the crystal. The crystal itself has got a blue tinge to it.
Yeah.
It seems a little bit viscous. What we're saying, honey on a warm day.
Okay.
Consistency. And in there is a very ornate, stylized sword hilt, just the hilt of a sword.
I mean, I went specifically in for the weapon. If I'm perfectly honest, I mean, he's seen kind of the weird shit that's happening here. He's not really normally in the business of stealing stuff, but I think under the circumstances, Damian will put the things that he's found into the bag of holding, except the sword hilt. So he'd kind of like move some of the other stuff because he knows we're still in a bit of need for some money at the moment if we can get some. And then he's gonna kind of take the sword hilt and then have a look at it and then investigate. I think he's going to be almost a little bit underwhelmed to start off with because it says a weapon of like from what the Taroka card reading was. He's going to be a little bit like, well,
You're expecting an actual sword.
Yeah, like an actual weapon. So just to have a sword hilt's a bit like, fuck's this.
Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Let me just check something.
The point.
I mean, it literally says discarded power. It tells of a weapon, a vengeance, a sword of sunlight, and this is just the hilt.
It's Isildur's sword.
It's a lightsaber.
Yeah, it could be a lightsaber. Could be the
D&D
dark saber.
version of a lightsaber, isn't it?
The dark saber, and you've just left it to one side, Jake. Disappointing.
I've picked it up.
Oh, I thought you said you was leaving it.
No, he's not. He said he's not going to put it in the bag of holding.
Ah, right.
Okay. Okay. I was considering texting you this, Jake, but I'll sort of tell you it on the assumption that you would share this with other party members. But if he doesn't, then you don't know it. As you pick this hilt up, you get a very distinct sense of joy emanating from this sword hilt, and then the joy turns to curiosity, and the curiosity turns to elation, and they're distinct.
What on earth are we talking about?
These emotions are coming from this inanimate object.
Sorry, Dave.
It's yeah. And you also find a tube of lube. No.
I was going to say I'm not going to make a joke about polishing my sword. And definitely not going to try and rub it to see if 3 wishes come out of it. So I'm getting a sense from it that the sword is expressing emotion in itself.
Yes.
Like it's not making me feel those emotions. The sword is.
The sword is having these emotions as you've grasped the handle.
All the way to the hilt.
Grip it firmly, Jake.
So I'm going to grip the shaft firmly.
Theodor's getting some emotions whilst he's watching you.
And then I guess almost like took aback by it, but I guess Damian would whisper to the sword and say, "You're finally free. You can help us in our fight against our enemy." And I guess he's going to kind of like just try and look if there's any kind of clues or patterning on the sword to kind of give him or on the hilt to kind of give him any more of an inclination as to how it's supposed to work, or whether I need to now find a second piece to the blade or something, because he's a bit puzzled by the fact that it's just the hilt still.
Sure, yeah. So the sword itself, it has a symbol of the sun on the, I want to say pommel, in the center of the pommel. The grip is that of a long sword. This is very light in your hands. It's lighter as a solid object. You can tell that it's crafted from fine steel. You don't actually recognize the metal that it is, but it's a lot lighter than it should be. But it's a long sword hilt. As you express this, and it's specifically the battle against darkness, the battle against your enemies, you feel a rush of elation and this charge of just raw positivity coming from the hilt. You would know that the process to actually find out what's going on with this would involve an identify spell, or it would involve spending a time of rest trying to figure out what it is. You're not gonna get there by yourself in a short period of time.
Okay. So having kind of finally found this weapon, Damian is then going to stash this into the bag of holding, or finding the hilt, he's going to stash it into the bag of holding, and then he's going to put the sun back up on its place, but he's going to try and do it with almost like making it look like he's not trying to disturb too much, so it looks like he's put it exactly back as he found it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's have a yeah. You can manage that. Yeah. So as you go to release the sword and put it into the bag of holding, as it enters the bag of holding, you sense fear coming from the hilt just before you let go.
I would potentially not stash it in the bag of holding then. Can I kind of like tuck it into my robes then? And
Dan,
you can stick it somewhere. Yeah. So as you sort of retract it, you get relief coming from the sword hilt.
Okay. And out of all the party, would I know somebody that might be able to cast Identify on it?
Yeah, Reman's done it before.
Okay.
Happy, Jake? Yep. Okay. So I'm going to take you back to the lower floor. I'm going to give you the overview again, just briefly. And Brungrik, you're going to have 2 tokens.
Cool.
Yeah.
2 Brungriks.
As you descend the stairs here. Okay. So what you can now see and hear coming down the stairs is it's a lightless corridor with multiple doors behind which you can hear the shrieks and cackles and screams of clearly madness. And the stench is overpowering. This is what I would like to describe to all of you gentlemen as the worst patient's house that you've ever stepped into. We've all been there. And it almost, I mean, you could smell it coming down, but as soon as you step down and you're in it, it's just overpowering you as your eyes start to water and you think, oh, Jesus, how can anyone live in this muck and filth? Out of the gloom, as you're walking round with the abbot in front of you, shambling up and down the corridors, you can see 2 figures in the gloom. And it is, well, there's a point, it is completely pitch black. There's no light source in here other than, and it's quite spooky, the eyes from the abbot as he looks around.
Can I not see down there?
If you have dark vision, then you're fine.
Yeah,
I'll be able to see as well.
For those that haven't got dark vision, the drow's going to be fine. But for those who haven't got dark vision, you may struggle. So that's who's human, Damian and is Damian catching up, by the way?
No, Damian's going to stay exactly. Damian's going to stay exactly where he was. He's going to stay in the room because otherwise it make it look suspicious.
Okay.
I'm
Sorry,
still
Lars.
stuck in the dining hall, Dave.
Say again, mate.
I'm still stuck in the dining hall.
Yeah. You're all. Oh, are you staying in the dining hall, or is it just your tokens stuff?
No, I'm going. Yeah, I can only see the dining hall at the minute on the.
Yeah, we're just using Brungrik as a marker for the group, as it were.
Yeah. So click off your token,
Okay.
dude. Just click off your token, and then everything else should open up. So you should have this bit open up here.
Okay. Yeah. Got you. Yeah.
So,
Oh, mate, yeah.
is it Theodor's a human, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're struggling to see in this dim light as the stench hits you as you go around the corner. Have you got any way of?
I'm just looking now.
If you can't, I can cast light if you want me to.
I've got light
Okay.
as a cantrip. Yeah.
Cool. What do you want to cast it on, Lars?
Because I have to cast it on something, don't I? Or can I cast it into just?
No,
Helmet.
That was option for Rillik.
Yeah. Can I? Should I cast it on the back of Brungrik's head?
Sure. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that, no problem. So
No, I cast it on his shield so he can kind of use it as a torch.
I've got dark vision. I don't need it, mate.
Yeah, but I need it. So it's like, do me a favor, Brungrik, and then it's just going to quickly just cast light on your shield.
just pick up a stone.
Yeah.
Carry the stone like a torch.
nice.
I was looking in my box.
However you do it, it's not a problem. So out of the gloom, you could just make out shambling figures going up and down the corridor, almost as if in a circular route. And then when the light spell flashes, you can clearly make out two of these humanoid figures, and these are clear and distinct, stitched together fleshy constructs. These are golems, flesh golems, malformed, disfigured, different parts of different humanoids stitched together and animated, walking up and down the corridor as you can hear the screaming and the chirping and the scratching and the whining and the crying coming from these rooms as the abbot says to you, "These two were my first attempts at Vasilka's perfection, and behind the doors, unfortunately, the madness of the rest of the Bellevue family. I do try to keep them and cure them as best as I can." And he'll say, as he gestures towards this door here, and he'll say, "There isn't a great deal more I can show you, but hopefully now you understand why my work is so important to you." As he gestures for you to leave the madhouse.
Yeah, so Brungrik will now, as he's seen all this, ask how safe is it here?
My creations and the Bellevues do as I bid them. Unfortunately, due to their maladies, I need to keep them locked up as much as possible.
So Brungrik will say, I'm not the first of my order to enter Barovia. I have a fellow brother cleric here. Due to circumstances, he is now weakened and needs a safe place to rest. And as this is holy ground, I can't imagine anywhere safer in Barovia to keep him away from Strahd while I go about completing my mission. So had intended to request sanctuary on his behalf here. He's a good man, and may be able to assist you in your work here in caring for the Bellevue family.
Okay, interesting. Let's have a persuasion check then.
He's not a persuasive dwarf.
He's not. He's not. The abbot will say, due to the rigors of the work, I fear it would be too much for a mortal.
Okay.
I would not wish harm to come to your brother.
Okay.
So he gestures through to the courtyard again. And he will say, so, gentlemen, you have your appointed task and your timeline. 5 days, and we shall see the end of the curse of Strahd. I bid you good fortune. And he walks towards the front gate. Actually, because we need to resolve Damian, doesn't he? So he walks back to the main chamber. And then when you're all together back in the main chamber, he will say what I've just said to you all. And then he sort of gestures towards the door. And then he goes back to Vasilka, and he seems to be ignoring you, basically, and sort of fussing around with her and trying to, do bits and pieces with this.
Obviously, he's a little more powerful than I, the abbot. I'm not, obviously, with what you've told me, I'm not 100% sure how he controls them, and if he has got any necromancy skills, and if I could maybe offer him if he doesn't know how to use animate dead, would that assist him in any way, shape, or form?
You rolled quite well for your Arcana. You would know that this isn't a form of necromancy. This is an entirely different form of magic.
Yes, but my question is, obviously he's explained to us that downstairs he's struggling to control them, and it's consuming a lot of his time. If he knew animate dead, do they go hand in hand with this type of creature?
I get where you're coming from. Not entirely. No, the flesh golems are body parts stitched together. The mongrel folk, it's a different entity. They are living, breathing creatures. They are alive, but that's
what's down in the crypt in the basement.
In the madhouse, in the rooms behind that you've not been into, they're all Bellevue. So anything Bellevue is a mongrel folk. So they have bits of a donkey, bits of a frog, bits of things stitched into them that he's convinced has made them better. That the Bellevues think has made them better for the ones that haven't gone stark raving mad. The flesh golems themselves, it's as you, I think it was Lars that said, are they? Because you've met other flesh golems now. You've all put two and two together that Vasilka is a construct. She's a flesh golem, but she just happens to be a well-constructed, well-put-together flesh golem. So for all intents and purposes, they are dead, but they're already animated.
All right. So there's nothing that I could offer?
Not from what you know. I don't think so, no.
No, fair enough.
I'll be honest, I'm getting a creepy sex doll vibe, and the abbot's made himself a sex doll, hasn't he? Creepy. When
the whole thing's creepy, yeah.
And it's putting two together. It's safe to assume that this is what it's all been. Each one has been a test to master his art, isn't it? To make her as best as he can. Because practice makes perfect.
So what do you want to do?
Go see the Burgomaster would be top of my list.
Yeah, Theodor would just say something like, the sooner we get this done, the sooner I can return to my family. And then he'd cast, is it prestidigitation?
Prestidigitation.
Like a puff of smoke on the floor and then just walk towards the door.
Nice. Okay, so business concluded in the Abbey. It's a short trip down to the rest of the village. That's and the Burgomaster is waiting for you. You can see as you start to walk down, there's movement in the village, and the Burgomaster comes and meets you at the bottom of this steep incline as you zigzag round from the bottom, and he'll say, "You've tell me what happened."
We've negotiated with the abbot. and he's given us 5 days to complete your task. The current plan we have at the moment is to make all haste to Vallaki, commission the wedding dress, and return with it within 5 days.
This is wonderful news. Wonderful news. I may be able to assist. I am aware of a dressmaker's shop that used to be in Vallaki. My ancestors have kept records of their, as I've looked through their journals, they have records of a dressmaker's shop in Vallaki, and he will tell you where it is or where it used to be located. But we are also aware of the small amount of correspondence that we get that the lady, the Baroness of Vallaki, has a wedding dress in her possession. We believe.
It's useful to.
I mean, we need to make this as expedient a process as possible. 5 days is all we have, and the road may only take us 5 days anyway on foot. But if you have horses to hand, it would be of great help.
We have no. If I could help you, I would. This is.
Are there any powerful users here in Krezk?
Any what? Sorry, Sam.
Powerful magic users here in Krezk?
No, there's no powerful magic users in the whole of Barovia, as far as I'm aware. I wish I could do more. You have my eternal gratitude, and the safety and sanctity of Krezk will always be yours. But I can offer you little aid. If necessary, I could send some of my guards with you, but I believe you gentlemen would stand a better chance of defending yourself than.
We were looking to see if you could aid us in speed rather than protection.
What about one of these like half-breed things that is made? Has any of those got like any horse hooves, and we could just ride on their back?
No, if only. They wouldn't be big enough, Lars, because they're all sort of short, stunted time. yeah. Why do you make a half horse, dickhead?
The other thing is as well, the ones that would be useful are all wild, basically. So, like the one that had back wings was wild, and yeah. Okay. So to retcon then, Dave, Brungrik's new plan will be to take Niloren to Vallaki because he's aware there's a church there, and put him into the safety of that church. Then, as his plan B.
Gotcha.
That sounds like a good idea. Because Irena's in that church as well, so she knows.
Yeah.
So she knows Niloren.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other aspect. Is there anywhere on foot where we might be able to get horses? Because would we not go past the winery again?
The winery is a detour. That's you're adding probably another day's journey south from the Svalich Road, or at least 3/4 of a day to get in the opposite direction.
There's a draft animals, aren't they?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because the other thing is, one other avenue we've not explored, and if we're going back towards Vallaki, is Argynvost Holt and the Temple of the Silver Dragon. That's an angle that we've not looked at yet.
My thoughts would be to do that after.
But what I'm saying, we're going to end up having to come all the way back back up to Krezk and then back past Vallaki, whereas Argynvost Holt is looking at the map, looks like it's pretty much just like a short detour from Vallaki. It's on the Svalich Road in the same direction.
Yeah, with the route that you would be taking back from Krezk to Vallaki, it would be perhaps a couple of hours detour. Let's say, right, you put your foot down. First day's travel, you would get to the crossroads that lead to Argynvost Holt. So if you pushed yourself a little bit further, you could get to Argynvost Holt after a day and rest there. And then it is what it is at Argynvost Holt, and then it's a short trip to get back on the road. So it's not unfeasible.
Can I just to divulge a little bit? Can I press the abbot a little bit, saying, "Look, I don't have 5 days. 5 days, I will be gone. I implore you to cure my curse before we go, and I promise you I will get you this dress on time."
I'd love to, mate. You already had your persuasion check in terms of getting the curse cured to do with the dress. I know, mate.
Yeah.
Do you want me to try remove curse?
Well, it's
No.
a little bit in sort of impromptu, isn't it? We'll take it. I say we'll take it to sort of like next long rest, and then I'll sort of try to metagame a little bit, but I'll
Wait
ask
till
you
the
then. No
Okay.
other way. Yeah.
Okay, so time is pressing then. So Dmitry Kreskov will say to you that, so gentlemen, I hate to press you, but it sounds like you're going to need to rush. That there is a lot of the day ahead of us still. It's sort of what we're talking, perhaps 10. Let's say 11 o'clock. You had brunch with the what's it. You could get to, if you put your foot down, you could walk for a solid. What's that? 11. No, well, no. Where does 9 hours? 9 hours takes us to 8 p.m., doesn't it? Yeah. Would get you if you did some jogging and a little, or at least power walking. You could still have a long rest while you're walking on the way to Argynvost Holt and get there by nightfall.
We've got one problem. Brungrik doesn't do cross country. He's more of a natural born sprinter.
No.
The only other question I had to ask the Burgomaster was, will you be able to help us with food and rations?
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm aware that if we run for 5 days, it's going to eat most of our rations up.
Consider your journey covered, so he'll give you each enough for 5 days.
Okay. I think we hit the road then and try and aim for the crossroads, and then depending on how we're doing for time and any problems on the road, at least we can then decide as to whether we go to Argynvost Holt or not.
Okay.
Theodor's still just stood at the door, and his puff of smoke's completely disappeared at this point, but he's just standing there looking a bit embarrassed.
I think I'm going to have to bail.
Yeah, no problem, Lou. Well, what? Yeah, all right, dude.
All right.
Yeah, all right, dude. Nice one.
Carry on. I'm happy for you to carry on. I'll just watch it and catch up another time. I'm literally just falling asleep at the computer.
Yeah, all right, mate. Good innings.
All right. Catch you later.
See you,
See you
dude.
later.
Ta-da. We'll have a bit of a wrap up then, shall we? Let me just change
I
this
could do it, to be fair.
Whilst all this is going on, that Dave, Reman is going to use a ritual and create Bat Damon II in preparation.
Yeah, no problem, mate. No problem.
Yes.
So Bat Damon's back. You can do. I mean, strictly speaking, you're supposed to do the whole charcoal drawing thing and all the rest of it, but you can do that before you set off, mate. You need Bat Damon around, don't you?
Yeah.
And how long does identify take? Is it an hour?
No. As a because you can either. Can you do it as a ritual?
I can do it as a ritual. It takes me
20 minutes.
1 minute plus
1
10 minutes. 1 minute plus 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Casting time
So
11 minutes. Casting time 11 minutes.
Because that would just leave us with too much time in the town, really. Because if we were casting back Damon back, and then we'll leave it for now.
You can do it. You can do it if you want to do it, because you've I'll give you a little bit too much information because you can sort of between the all of you, if you were to cast detect magic, this liquid in this crystal vial is also magic, and the sword is clearly magic. And then you can cast your identify spells as well. So the potion is a potion of superior healing.
Ooh.
Okay.
And obviously, once you've drunk it, you've still got the expensive crystal vial.
Thanks, mate.
What I'll do.
My identify, I've got to be touching the object.
Yeah.
Or you don't. I don't want you to start rubbing my hilt. Thank you very much.
That they put where the sun don't shine.
But by doing it, I learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use and how many charges it has, if any. You learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it.
So you've identified the potion, and as you move on to the sun sword, as you complete your ritual, and to be in contact with this sun sword, Reman would get a similar sense coming from you. You get emotions coming from this sword and it's just excited. It's like holding an excitable little child in your hand, and you can almost imagine, you can only feel it, but there's whoops of joy coming from this sword as you're casting your ritual, and you start to get excited about it yourself. And as you finish the casting of identify, you identify this as a sun sword. This is a sword of pure, brilliant, radiant sunlight that, once attuned to, the bearer, as a bonus action, can make a blade of pure sunlight appear as if it were a long sword. However, unlike most long swords, it also has the finesse trait, so it can be used as a dexterity weapon as well as a strength weapon. It's sentient, which you've guessed already because it was emanating these emotions. And you would be able to tell that it can hear, and it has normal vision out to a range of 60 feet. The weapon itself is it's a weapon of chaos and good. It's a chaotic good weapon. And it has a specific, because you've cast identify, it has a specific purpose. And the purpose is to attempt to destroy Strahd. This is a powerful weapon of light that you've discovered.
And obviously, I've shared all my findings with everybody, so everyone knows what it is, what it does.
Fucking lightsaber.
It's a fucking lightsaber, motherfucker.
Oh, my inner geek just had a big stroke.
So, question is, who's wielding the lightsaber, motherfucker?
Somebody who can deal with close combat.
You've got 3 viable options. Valkyn could use it as a finesse weapon. Damian could use it as a finesse weapon, or in fact, Rillik can use it as a strength weapon, and Brungrik can use it as a strength weapon.
And I just started calling it my precious.
You also, you'd be well aware of the fact that if you start flashing this about and Strahd becomes aware of it, he's not going to be happy.
No, and I think Potentially, because it's going to take some time to attune to it, isn't it? So I think Damian had kind of passed it to Reman to start off with as a bit of a quickly look at this, see what it is, see if there's any more information about how we get, because he's still trying to figure out, is there another part to it? Does it need something else? When Reman's like, it needs attunement, Damian's going to be like, almost like snatch it out of his hand, put it back in his cloak, and be like, well, we can make the decision when we need to come to rest as to who holds it. But for now, I'm going to keep hold of it.
Okay.
I mean, it's almost like Damian's been out. He was there to seek it. That was the main reason he went to the Abbey at Krezk. So he's kind of fixed on making this goes it goes to the right person, and it's used when the time comes.
Yeah. Okay. It's an interesting one because obviously it's a magic item. It's a magic weapon.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it's a meta game. I wield a magic weapon. Jake wields a magic weapon. I don't think anybody else does, do they?
Johnson's got a dagger, I think, and
I've got a magic dagger.
Have you?
I suppose Valkyn's going to throw his name in a hat just to say, who can get close to Strahd unseen. It's clear he's not going to be happy about a weapon of light and such a creature of darkness. Who can get it to him? Who can get closest unseen?
But if you're walking around with a big sword of sunlight that's emanating light from it, you ain't getting there unseen. He's gonna see it.
Well, Reman could
argue that it should be Valkyn or Rillik. Really,
I would say either Valkyn or Rillik, but potentially Rillik as well, because Rillik, you're a dark elf.
Oh yeah, that's going to be my next point. Is it not going to affect your vision?
You do. You get damage, don't you, and disadvantage in direct sunlight.
True. Yeah.
If we heavily metagame the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Unless we
would know that. I know we say we're metagaming, but Valkyn would know that, wouldn't he? If you turn around and said this sword projects pure sunlight, you're going to be like, well, I'm not going to be able to fucking see, am I? Yeah, food for thought.
It's leading towards.
But then, at the same time, well, to be fair, he's shown genuine intent, hasn't he? He's protected Valkyn, hasn't he? He's defended Valkyn against Barwolf, so he seems pretty genuine. But he's only just come back from the dead, and we still don't know whether. Seems like he's not a puppet of Strahd. I think from Damian's perspective, until we can attune to it, he's going to kind of scuttle it away and be like, I'm almost like, I'm going to protect it for the time being.
I'll tell you what we'll do then. Should we call session end there then?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let me kill this.